This is the old school traveler back here again. And when I say again, because, I try to give every city the benefit of the doubt to not just impress me, because I don't care if you impress me or not, because I'm always going to tell it like it is. But what I want to give me the benefit of seeing the bad and the good. And I always hope there's more good than bad in any place I go to. I don't like spending money to see something bad. I can see bad on the news all day, every day. And I can see all kind of cities. So I don't need to come to your city and not find a lot of good, because there's good in every city. Well, no. Hell no. I've been to Mississippi. There ain't good in every city. But my point is, most cities got some good in them. And my point is that if you got good in you, I should not have to look too hard to find the good. And some cities are good in one thing, sucks at the other. That's the part that kills me. They are great in one thing and sucks at the other. Let me tell you about Panama City, Florida. Not Panama City, Panama. Nope, I'm going to show you the video of Panama City, Florida. Now, here's the thing, Panama City, Florida. Panama, if you like the beach, it's a perfect city. You're not going to find many beaches better than Panama. No, you are not. They got shopping. They got an outlet mall in Destin, so they got shopping. And they got the prettiest beaches in the world, too. They're white sand beaches. But now here's the problem. Once you leave the beach, these beautiful beaches, once you leave them, you got to eat. Because anybody who knows, swimming tires you out, wears you out, makes you hungry. If you go swimming, that's what's going to happen. And now you can sit on the beach all day long. You got to eat. You can go to your hotel room. You got to eat. So here's where the problem comes in when you got to eat. Panama City, Florida is full of restaurants. I mean, a bunch of them. Because, you get the college kids coming down, during spring break, during the summer, or whatever have you. So they got a lot of restaurants. There's no doubt about that. Here's the problem. Everything is fried, and almost all of the restaurants are fast food or chain restaurants that you can see anywhere else in America. So why would you come here for it outside of the beach? If Panama City didn't have a beach, nobody would ever go to the city outside of the military, because it's definitely a part military. I would say 50-50 military and beach lovers. Yeah, they got a lot of military. It's a military town because you got bases not far from it. And the bases are very, very large. Not just land-wise, but they're large in the number of people assigned to those military installations. So Panama is getting to a point where it's pricing itself out of the military pay bracket. Yeah. But because Panama is Panama is not spread out, but they got land everywhere. The only place they don't have land is when you go to Apalachicola National Forest. Of course, there's, you can't build on that. But my point is this: Panama's not really a pretty city. The only high rises you're going to find around there is condos that people have paid for. Old folks getting ready to die. Most of them are military because they got the bases close by, and you got your hospital, you got your shopping, and all your other stuff. But Panama itself, shopping is not bad for a city of its size, because they got an outlet mall about 10 minutes away. It's not bad for a city of its size. But if you like me, I don't want to eat food that kids eat. Kids eat everything fried. It doesn't bother a kid in a heartbeat. I like a variety of food. I like a good steak restaurant, I like a good Chinese. And it's not diverse at all. You got a few Chinese restaurants, when you want to, when one out of every 5 people on the earth is Chinese, you're going to have a bunch of Chinese restaurants. You got your Indian restaurants too, but not like the Chinese restaurants. But my point is, they got a lot of chain restaurants here. I mean, a lot. You drive down, you look at this video, you drive down the main street, and all you see is chain restaurants. Yeah, they got a bunch of them. And everybody knows with chain restaurants, the goal is to get you in and get you out. Get you in, get you out. And the way to do that, fry it. It doesn't take long to fry nothing. I don't know anything that takes hours to fry. No. You can't find a good barbecue restaurant. No, you can't. But Panama is one of those cities that, if you got a good product, you can make it. Because it's not an expensive city at all. It's not expensive at all. But then again, it's in the South. And most cities in the South are not expensive, especially when you're from, like me, from the Northeast. There's nothing really to do in Panama once you leave the beach. That was a problem too. I said, if I didn't want, if I didn't want to go to the beach, what would I do all day? Good luck on that, because you ain't doing nothing but sitting around waiting to go to the beach. And you get some great drone shots of things around Panama. But it's disappointing when, it's not I guess it is. It's got a Ferris wheel. It's kind of like a carnival. I call them carny cities, where they should be in a carnival. And seems like you got your people who wake up and go to the beach early in the morning, and then you got people who just don't wake up until it's time to drink again, because that's what college towns are. But here's the funny part: there's no major college in Panama City. There's none at all. But the city looks like one. Especially the beach vibe you get. Now, I don't mind going to the beach every now and then, but not every day. Now, I always think to myself when I was in Panama City, this is a great city to be a hunter, because you got a lot of woods. And the outdoors is not bad if you like hunting and doing simple things. I'm not saying you're going to cross, you're going to climb Pikes Peak, because it doesn't have mountains. Panama City is flat. I'm talking about flat. But the people are very, very courteous, and they seem to get a lot of people from Georgia and from actually most of the universities or colleges in the South. They love Panama, and they love Panama City, and I can see why. I see why they like it, because if you like the sun, the beach, it is made for you. But there's not a lot of anything else to do. That's where the struggles come in at. So now, would I go here again? Not really, unless I'm going strictly for the beach, because that's the kind of city it is. And they have a lot of young people. Military already got a lot of young people, and they got retirees, but the retirees don't live on the beach. And most of the retirees live in a little town called Destin. Now, Destin got your premier shopping in Panama. And I'm not saying better food, but as far as, like I said, diversity of restaurants, I couldn't find very many steakhouses, and the ones that I saw wasn't those highly polished ones like I'm used to seeing. It looked like someone just, Bubba just threw up a steakhouse and just said, hey, I got the only steaks in town, so your choices are limited. You got to come here, or you just don't get a steak tonight. And now, when I say about steakhouses, you got people, everybody sells steaks, but everybody don't cook a good steak, and everybody don't have the best cut of meat. I'm a steakologist, like a barbecueologist. I know a good cut of steak when I see it. And Panama is not a steakhouse. You're not going to be able to get a 32-ounce ribeye. No, it's not one of those kind of towns. But it don't have to be, because you build a town, and what determines the restaurants are the population and the income of that area. If you don't have the population, there's no need to have one. If you don't have the income, they can't buy it. No need to have one. But when you're a tourist town, and Panama City is a tourist town. Not every tourist want to eat fried this, fried that, fried this. And not everybody wants to eat seafood all day, every day. I'm not a big seafood person. I'm more of a lobster and shrimp type, but as far as fish and everything else goes, you're not going to see me really order that a lot, if ever. I have things I like, I have things I don't like. And seafood, I'm a guy, I like my meat to come from the land. I got no problem with everything I eat come from the land. But also, I like a lot of vegetables too. And you're not going to get there and see a lot of vegetables. They give you the same couple of things: broccoli, green beans. Nah, open it up. Give me some black eyed peas and give me some corn, and open it up. Give me some asparagus. Open it up and let me pick the kind of vegetables I want to go in this body. And it seems like every restaurant, no matter what entree you get the same vegetables. I understand that because as far as marketing goes and, buying stuff, I understand that, you buy a lot of this is cheaper. But if you're going to charge me a lot of money, I want a lot of variety. I'm simple. You charge me a lot, I want a lot to pick from. And steakhouses, are not very big. The ones that, I didn't even really see a steakhouse. Now, they had steak and seafood, but I like where the primary thing is steak. But also, I like a diverse type of food. I like Asian food. I like Iranian food, even though some people say they're Asian. I still think they're in the Middle East. I like Middle Eastern food. I like African food. I like to see a little of everything. And I love Caribbean food. I like to see a little of everything. And you don't get that in Panama City. You don't get that. You get seafood, you get some steaks, and you get some hot dogs, and everything else is fried. If they can fry those two things, they fry a lot of seafood there. But if they can fry those two things, then they are happy, 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 happy. So Panama City is a city that I could stay maybe 2 days, at the most 3, and I would struggle with the third day. But I could stay there because, I would go to the beach a day, but then I want to go fishing and hunting. And those are two things that is hard to find in beach towns. And Panama City is definitely a beach town. I tried to find some good restaurants there, a diverse, and it's just not even diverse, just a good restaurant. And it's hard to do that without finding a chain. So on my other webpage, I got the restaurants that I recommended and the ones that I like because I was there 5 days. Now, saying all that, once you get there and stuff, you're gonna ask yourself, who in Panama City is originally from Panama City? In other words, who was born and raised there, and their mom and dad is not connected with the military? That's hard to find because generally they know all the good foods, all the good places to eat at. But it's hard to find. And, don't get me wrong, a lot of the military that are there, they retired there, so they know the area, they know the lay of the land. Don't get me wrong. But I'm like, what makes Panama City seafood different than anybody else's seafood? It's not. I'm like, okay, I can fly in salmon from anywhere in the world to any city and get salmon. I can do the same thing with lobster because ain't no lobsters coming from Panama City area. So I was sitting there thinking, what makes anything I'm getting in Panama City, Florida, unique to any other place that I can get the same thing at? Florida in general don't have a Florida food. They got stone crabs and key lime pie, but that's it. Everything else Florida got, I can get anywhere else. They don't have, and to be honest about it, every place I went to in Florida, and I've been to probably 1,000 places in Florida because I used to go there every week for work. I used to live there. And it just seems like Key West got some of the best food you're going to find. And the Panhandle, where Panama City is located, they giving you the same thing you can get anywhere else in Florida. But I'm saying that. But a lot of times, too, when you get something from a city like Panama City, it could be the freshness that everybody is paying for and want. Because, you can get I went to a restaurant and they were selling me fish that I grew up eating, and we used to go catch them in the lake. Small little lakes. I'm not talking about a lake you need a boat. I'm talking about a lake where you can stand on the shore and just cast your rod and pull it out, called mullet. Mullet was a throwaway fish. We use mullet, fish for bait sometimes. And they charge you a lot for it. And that food was free. Mullet was free when I was growing up. I'm like, now y'all making a delicacy, and it was we call it a bottom feeder, eating the mud on the bottom of the river or lake it was in. But someone got smart and said, if idiots are going to pay for this, these idiots are going to get charged for this, I'm going to take their money because they're idiots, which I agree. A fool and his money will always part ways quicker than he can imagine. So The people there, like I said, most of them come from somewhere else. And, most of them come from somewhere else. They're nice people. No issues there. No problems there. And the one thing I like about the South that is still hard for me to get used to, but I love it. And Panama City is, I like free parking. It's never issue parking there. I've never really had an issue parking in any city in the South outside of the big cities. When you go to Atlanta, they want to charge you to park. Charlotte doesn't do that as much as Atlanta do. Atlanta charge you a lot. Miami charge you a lot because Miami really believes it's New York. It's not. I know people in Miami think we are. No. That's why New Yorkers moved to Miami, to try and make it like New York. They don't move there because it's like New York. They're trying to make it like New York. But Panama City, I believe, is a city that anybody can make it. Because you buy a food truck and you go on the beach, you can make some money. Because young people don't have a conscience when it comes to money. Because 99% of the time it's not theirs, and if it's theirs, they're going to spend it anyway and just go ahead and put on the credit card. Whereas older folks, we try and stay debt free because we know what debt kills you. There's no such thing as good debt. I don't care what you say. Ain't no such thing as good debt. When you owe somebody else, they own you. That's just how it works. But in Panama City, though, you can make it no matter where you come from, because I've seen people making it, whether it's a food cart or someone out there in a shrimp boat or a fish boat or whatever you have out there. But you can make it. Now, it's not a food truck city. That's one of the avenues that I wanted to look at, and that's one of the avenues I went down there for, to look at food trucks. Because you can make it with a food truck in Panama City. They got a lot of locations because the beach is long. The beach is long, and none of the beach is private. That's a beautiful thing. I don't know why you let someone privatize a beach. That's just stupid. But the thing is, Panama City, the thing I like about it too is that if you got little kids, you take them to the beach, there's a lot of things to do for little kids along the beach, along the piers or whatever you want to call it, boardwalk, whatever. But and it's very developed for people who love the beach. Panama City is not developed for people who don't like the beach. Like I said, I like the beach, just not every damn day. I like to do other things too. I like to do, I like to walk, and it's pretty walking along the beach. But also, it's pretty walking in the mountains too. Hiking in the mountains at a national park. Also, like I said, they got very, very good shopping if you go to Destin. When you go to a city and it doesn't have a Costco, that tells you the income level of that area. Because if there's money to be made, there will be a Costco. Sam's Clubs are everywhere, but Sam's Club and Costco look at different audiences. They're not competing for the same person, even though Sam's Clubs think they are. It's like Walmart and Target. They get a certain audience, and here's what it is. From the very beginning what kind of audience that you're looking for, customer base that you want to look out for. But, Panama City, the other thing too is that it's not really close to any major airports. It has an airport that goes to Atlanta, which you can jump off and go anywhere in the world. It has an airport that goes to a couple cities in the Northeast. But if you from a big city and it's not Atlanta, or Delta isn't the premier airline, you're going to have connections everywhere. They're going to fly you to LA to get you to New York. That's just how the airport works. But the people are, you get some that are very, very country, which I always laugh at the country accent. And you get some that you can tell they're from the north, like myself. But you do get a bunch of people from all over. But as far as the cost of living goes, Panama is cheap to a lot of us who don't live there, but it's expensive to those who do live there because wages are not that high. When you see, I seen an advertisement and they were paying like $13 an hour. I seen about 15 people applying for the job for $13 an hour. Up here, they won't get out of bed for less than 20. I don't care if it's McDonald's or Amazon or whoever you want to call. You're going to pay them a fair wage, and rightfully so. But the thing is, if you try to start something, get something going, depends on what it is and how you price it. Yes, you can make it in Panama City, Florida. And then, the other thing too, that you got sunshine every day. It rains for a couple minutes. That's typical Florida. But you got sunshine every day. And that's hard to beat. That makes the city attractive. The cost of living is low. It's nowhere near the northeast part. But neither are the wages either. So this is your old school traveler telling you, I just came from Panama City, Florida. I'm going back again too. I'm going back again because but I'm going for the beach. I'm going for the sun, and with the prices, it makes it very attractive. I can go to the beach anywhere in the world, but it's very attractive when you go to Panama City because it's cheap. The entire Panhandle of Florida is fairly cheap. And Alabama, you get some good deals. I wish they had a bigger airport that I can fly direct to, but it is what it is. They're not going to build an airport for one person, but at the same time, it is growing. It is growing. So this is the old school DJ, just telling you that Panama City, Florida, it's one of those cities. It's in the middle, but the food part is the part that demoralizes me because I want it. Not that I expected better in a resort town. I didn't expect better. I just didn't expect worse. Peace out. The Old School Traveler, Panama City, Florida.